Mangione faces charges from 3 different jurisdictions: federal, New York State, Pennsylvania. Jesse, which is going to take priority here?
Well, I think the state, and if you're the government, that's what you want. Why do I say that? I think the federal charges are very iffy, right? And I think when you look at it, and I could break it down, but the federal charges, the murder charges based on stalking, if you read the statute, I don't know if it actually fits here. And then you look at the state charges. I think there's a very clear evidence that he committed second-degree murder, which is just an intent to kill. If you look at all the evidence so far, they might be able to make that case. The terrorism charges, which are part of the state case, problematic. We can talk about that. But really what I think is if you want to get a conviction against him, that's the first thing you want. In anticipation of the next case, you go with the state charges in New York. And by the way, the Pennsylvania charge is serious, but no one's thinking about that. They're really focused on New York.
And Matt, like Caitlin mentioned, he's kind of become a hero to some. I was at the court last week. There were women with "Will you marry me?" Luigi signs. How hard will it be to find a jury that's not impartial, and what will they be looking for when they're picking a jury?
Well, the court is going to take steps to make sure that those people don't get on at the jury. So the judge will give out questionnaires, which will ask that question, about health care, and if anybody voices a strong opinion, they're going to be bounced pretty quick. I think they're going to be able to find a jury just fine. These high-profile cases, it seems like everybody's watching, but this thing isn't going to go to trial for at least a year, if I had to guess. By that time, people are more concerned about their own lives. People will remember the case, but the fundamental question is, can they be fair? And you'll be able to find 12 deliberating jurors in the city of New York.
I mentioned
so optimistic.
So optimistic, but can I stick with you for a second? What are the conditions he's facing at this notorious jail right now?
Well, they're tough. They're definitely tough, but it's kind of just the way it is. No jail, and especially no holding facility like the Metropolitan Jail here in New York City are necessarily that comfortable. So it just kind of goes with the territory. You shoot somebody in New York, you're not necessarily going to be that comfortable waiting for your trial.
A lot of people are talking about this, Jesse, and that is the one thing he has in common with Diddy. It's because Diddy's lawyer is married to Mangione's lawyer. Yep. Of course, that's an interesting little nugget here. A lot of people talking about it. Is that common? Have you seen this before?
Powerhouse
really,
legal
power
couples?
couple,
I've seen
absolutely.
it happen before. What I haven't seen is as a couple representing 2 of the most high-profile criminal defendants in the country, both in New York, both facing federal charges, and in the same facility. Look, I think you have experience there. Mark Agnifilo is a federal, he understands the federal system, which might help his wife, but also is facing state charges. Look, these are 2 incredibly seasoned lawyers, and it's not just defending a criminal case where the evidence looks bad, I think, in both cases, but also what you're dealing with is the high-profile atmosphere of that. And it's difficult. Look, I have to say, I think it's interesting that she says, look, this is becoming such a spectacle, he won't be able to find a fair jury. If you ask right now, finding fair jury, it's actually benefiting her. I think that if you look at trying to find a fair jury, it's a question of, is it good for the government? Right now, there seems to be such a support for Mangione. How do you know a stealth juror won't go on there and feel sympathetic for him and not look at the facts or the evidence or just feel, maybe because it's aesthetics, how he looks or what he allegedly did? I think it's more of a concern for the prosecution than it is for the defense right now.
Go ahead, Matt.
Well, yeah, the irony of that is that actually, Jesse's absolutely right, and it advances the reason why they charge first-degree murder, which is terrorism in the state of New York, which is defined as anything designed to influence, a murder designed to influence public policy or government decision. And everything Jesse's saying, it's like you got these people that are trying to ride this wave, which is exactly the purpose of terrorism in the first place, to advance your cause.
Was it odd to see Mayor Adams walking alongside Mangione and all those and that police presence?
Yeah, it's odd, I suppose, but he's scoring political points, and the arguments that Mangione's attorney made were correct, right? Political decisions tend to interfere with the constitutional rights of criminal defendants. But Mayor Adams is not an officer of the court. And Alvin Bragg's comments were actually pretty circumspect. And she couldn't really attack those too hard. So, yeah, that's unusual, but there's no real remedy to that. He's just got to they're going to have to take it because they're not going to get a change of venue. You can't change states. And, yeah, it's interesting.
Can I just jump on that
Please.
real quick? I think it's important to recognize, sure, everybody wants a spotlight in this big case, but this is a situation where there's such this outpouring of support. How do you know somebody won't jump in and try to free this guy? That's why I think you have so much a mounting of law enforcement support here. And look, I think it's also deterrence. The reason he is charged so aggressively at the state and federal level is they do not want copycats. They do not want people to justify this.
Thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.